Because it's, well, you know, we do have the
Somebody who's
collective.
responsible for the property that,
The maintenance goes through Valley Forge Audubon Society, so then it would have to be them.
I mean, it's just like a hunting sign, if you place it on your property, it's gotta be a signature on the bottom or else it's no
Okay,
good.
thank you for that
Okay.
point, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That is true.
Okay.
Can I just ask a point of clarification, maybe you can answer this? So you said there already are signs posted that says like no vandalism, no litter, all that other stuff. So does that mean if somebody is in there spray painting rocks and you catch them, is that enforceable as a crime? If it's posted, you can't do that?
You have to actually post vandalism's not allowed, I mean, isn't it
I
kind
don't
of
know.
a?
It's sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
sad,
a
yeah.
tough,
It has to be.
I mean, do you write down, do you post a sign, don't spray paint the rocks? I mean, it
Well,
would seem to
that-
me that would be a given, but.
I gotta put
You're-
signs
you're-
that I
you're
can
now
put on
enticing
trailers
somebody to do
where I
it.
can't, or
Like
they
put-
can't
Oh,
arrest them.
what's that?
Scout Collar 1 or 2 shrink rooms. I gotta put signs up on my construction trailers and all, that, that there's a camera watching them. Other than that, the police in Philadelphia underneath of Front Street, they're not enforceable. They break into the Conex boxes, and I got information on the camera, it's not enforceable. Because I didn't have a sign up telling them that it was being watched.
No warning.
it is.
All right, well, let's move forward on this.
I've actually suggested to Valley Forge Audubon Society that we post things within the trail system that they're under surveillance. It was a suggestion, with or without it, but a suggestion that we put up signs that say that area is under surveillance.
Water
Yes.
The Watershed Conservancy does even have a fake camera. I can tell you that.
It's a deterrent.
All right, I guess we should have a motion.
I'll move.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
I guess whatever happened to the verbiage you wrote up for Phil Smith? That's different than this.
That's different.
You throw that out, huh?
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
All right, have a motion?
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry.
First and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So, question for Noel,
Yes.
does that mean this is going to happen now, and who's gonna do it?
I'm gonna reach out to Vince tonight
Okay.
and tell him that we have the green light and we can move forward with ordering the signs, and then I'll spearhead the party to get together. Anybody wanna volunteer? And get the property posted.
So either he or someone from Audubon will sign them.
I'm gonna suggest that, make it a strong suggestion that it gets signed so that we can enforce it.
Because it does say Valley Forge Audubon, so it should be someone from them, presumably,
Yes.
right? who signs it?
Yes.
So you're gonna post Limerick property as well?
All of them. Limerick's already in on it, Natural Lands Trust has approved of it. So it was just this formality here, and then it's whoever, the distance, the entire perimeter, yeah.
Okay. Good. Well, hopefully it'll work.
Next item is welcome packet for new residents. We had a suggestion, whether it was last meeting or one before that, regarding putting together some kind of a welcome packet for new residents to be issued when the UNOs get issued. I did find a map, however, it's 10 years old, actually 11 years old now. Would I have authorization to move ahead and update this? I think this is a key part of a new welcome packet.
How much would it cost?
I don't know.
Could we get an estimate between now, I mean, we can do it between now and next week, and I'd like to know. I mean, I like that map, I use it a lot, of course, it is out of date, but I think people, local businesses pay for advertising in there, so if we can kind of do it for,
I don't know if I'll have an answer by next week, though.
okay. I mean, is it gonna be $100, $10,000?
That'd be pretty much, that's a pretty big. Yeah, that would cost a few bucks. We talked about this a few years back, and Tamara was looking into it, and, I don't know, never, obviously this was done, 10 years ago, and there were still hundreds of them laying around in here in the building.
I mean, if you wanna put together a new resident welcome packet, I think that's pretty integral part of the.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. We wanna, I forget, I guess there's a company that does.
Yeah, they go out and they solicit
They go out
advertising,
and solicit the
yes.
ads.
Right, right.
I think they did that.
Yeah.
Because then it's usually, if you do that, it's generally gonna be free or extremely low cost to the township. Don't get other.
We're not
Just like
contacting that
when-
company.
Just like when you go to the diners and they got the little placemat, they got all the, they're all paid for. So if we get somebody to do that.
I mean, I can
you know,
call
low
Yeah.
cost to the township.
The name of the map company's on here
Well, I
somewhere.
wonder if we should wait until after the Zieglerville Road, the Lagusa tract is done, so we can include that.
That makes sense.
Anything else going on? Maybe somebody-
You
maybe
can look
sometime
into
in
it.
I'll look into it and see how much.
I would get started because it takes quite a bit to put
Yeah,
together.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
you're talking
It
6
took a
months
year
to
last
year.
time.
That's
somebody
about
put
right
that
then,
together.
6 months ago.
All right, I'll call some companies and hopefully have some answers.
How many do we have left?
We throw it in. I think it's done.
Sorry, anything else you wanna put in that packet?
Handle that this week.
I haven't really thought about it, I just looked at that, came across that and thought that was probably a substantial part that needed to be done. County information,
You
school
want phone
district
numbers,
information.
all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, basic contact information.
Kevin, I've seen a couple, I'll give you some suggestions.
Okay, that's fine. All right, that's all I have under new business.
This one does not list any of the parks. It might be on the map, but it doesn't talk about them or the events or anything. Seems to me it could be.
Tom, that's actually one of the reasons I suggested it. The park board was just doing an inventory of all the parks and, you know, what attractions there and so forth. Having attended the meetings, I thought, well, this would be a great thing to include. So if we find out if we have a vendor that can do this for the township, they're working on that inventory now and probably have that ready by June, I'm guessing. So the problem is then augment that map with that kind of information, because the park system, to me, was the
Just
biggest
seems to me
draw.
it's missing a lot.
I'll work with you on this. That's all I have under new business, under pub.
I just have one thing I wanna mention, which probably should be for the police, but I was talking to someone the other day and they told me that, it was a couple weeks ago when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, people were shooting off guns. And, I just wanted to ask the chief what the law says about that. Of course, Eagles don't win the Super Bowl every day, but still.
Well, New Year's Eve,
It's Montgomery County.
same thing.
It happens.
I
You know,
don't think.
what goes up
because-
comes down, right?
You can shoot guns. You can shoot guns on your property right now.
Yeah, but what goes up comes down.
Well, you have to be smart and safe about it.
Well, that's what I wanted to know,
You
is
shoot
what
guns.
does the law say about just going out and shooting off
Public
guns?
district, we can do it.
You want me to have them call you, or?
He'll be here next week.
Yeah, next
Yeah.
week.
All right.
Let's just-
I'm sure somebody in this room could answer that question pretty well. People shoot guns all the time in this town. It's perfectly legal.
Is it?
If it is,
They passed that thing in Philadelphia because you're not allowed to shoot guns in
Yeah,
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia's
That's
good.
why they passed that law.
yeah.
Doesn't it have to do with like how big a property you have, or what kind of gun it is, and how far the bullet can go, and
You have to know those things, yes. But
Right,
if you
so
know
that's-
those things, then you can shoot your gun legally, you can hunt. You can
No,
hunt.
but I'm not talking about hunting, I'm talking about people are excited and they just go out and
Oh,
shoot
and
the
just
gun off.
start blasting away?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what some people.
You can't regulate stupidity.
Exactly.
Seems like I say that a lot lately.
But if somebody gets hurt,
Oh, yeah, absolutely, you're responsible,
Or
for
you get
sure.
close
You're
to getting hurt.
responsible no matter
Maybe we should
what.
just remind people, it's great that the Eagles won, but maybe next time just go out and scream and yell and jump up and down might be a safer way to celebrate.
If there is a next time in our lifetime.
Hey, you just,
I hope, I'm hoping, but. All right, under public comment, I guess we do have a few individuals who, their presence want to be known. Mark Marino, 21 Set Road.
Right here.
Okay.
He's glad to sit down. I just stand up already.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Mark Marino. I know a lot of faces here. Found out I've seen you for a while. All right.
Super.
Good. I appreciate the opportunity. Kevin, thanks for putting me on the agenda. I'm here because I have a few issues with trying to build a house here in the township. Should be a fairly simple proposition, I would think, but it certainly is not. Let's give a little background of what piece of ground I own. The Reinhardts sold me their piece of ground a little while ago. It's on Sepp Road. And the reason why I was contacted was because the realtor that was representing them tried to sell the property for quite a long while and told me that nobody wanted to build in Lower Frederick because of regulation and a few other things. So I looked at the piece of ground, not the easiest piece of ground in the world to develop, but it's 3.5 acres, it's a good school district. I figured no big deal, I do this stuff all the time, I'll do it. In hindsight, probably never should have done it. I've been at this for about 5 months now. This is not a subdivision. An average person, an average layman who bought this piece of ground, if they came to the township, didn't know, bought the piece of ground from the realtor, they probably broke at this point.
I'm sorry, is there an existing house on that land, or is it just
No.
land? It's just land.
Well, there's the Reinhardt's home.
Yeah, but they
and
cut that off for what you bought, right?
Years ago. They've owned the property since 1957. Two separate parcels. They had some health problems. They lost the initial, the homestead, we'll say. The other piece that I bought, they had to use the money that I gave them to try and settle some of their debts. So they were in financial, straits there. So there was.
So it's just land?
Correct. 3.5 acres. The zoning is 2 acres there. So I'm well over the allowable ground there. So in order to build a house here in Lower Frederick, I need a driveway permit, I need a grading permit, I need a stormwater management plan with a drainage plan, and it has a checklist with it. I mean, I have a whole stack of stuff here that's been done to build one single house. And then finally, you need a plot plan that shows all the proposed improvements that you're going to do. So there's so much overlap here. The stormwater regulations that the township has that requires you to build a single house are absurd. In order to build a house, I need to put a retention basin in for one single house on a 3.5 acre piece of ground. The building coverage is under 2% for the lot. In order to do the basin, to satisfy what the ordinance is, so your engineer can check it. Just ironically, Mr. Valentine out there just happened to be my consultant on that ground. I didn't even know he was going to be here today. I had to pay him to do a bunch of testing for the basin. So you can see it just starts to spiral out of control, the costs. Like I said, I got a mountain of paperwork here. I know you've been here all night. I'm not going to bore you with every detail that's here. So far, on my professionals, I've spent over $20,000. I've paid the township over $3,000 for permits and review fees. I don't have a single permit. I've had 2 reviews done on basically a single sheet. I know there's details, and you may want to argue with me, Carol. It's 6 pages, the whole set. But really, it's 1 page. Again, it's a single home on 3.5 acres. I am disturbing an area 190 feet by 190 feet. I have to go through all of that nonsense to build a house. The lot's 2/3 bigger than what the zoning allows. And then once I go through all that, do all the plans, I've submitted the plans to the township. I do subdivisions. That's a lot of work, what I do. that set of plans that I submitted, 8 pages long with the review letter. My engineer redid them, addressed the comments. I got a 4-page review letter back. We're addressing them now, and I know at this point, Ms. Schuler, you are communicating with my engineer via email, and we're trying to clean up some of that, I'll call it minutia. Again, you may want to disagree with me on those terms, but that's what I'm going to call it. I'm not going to go into all the detail on every fine point of the review letters, but I would like to point out, a couple of those things. And I'm here because I'm not happy, and I know you communicated with my engineer that you were prompt in reviewing the plan, you're addressing the issues. I agree with all that. I'm not saying you delayed reviewing it, but the comments, for the most part, on all 8 pages and then the other 4 pages, I'll say they were trivial. That plan, initially drawn, was easily constructible, was done in a safe manner, it was done in a responsible manner. We are arguing back and forth on where to place a silt sock on that site. I'm sure you folks, you probably might not know the term, but it's that big black tube you see laying on the ground, to control erosion. Easily, field changes can be made there, but we're arguing about, should the silt sock be here, or should the silt sock be over here? What kind of material should be in the silt sock for diversion, whether it's infiltration. Common sense just is not being used here. You looked at that site, it's fairly flat, and we're arguing over a silt fence. One of your comments was a diversion berm. And on the diversion berm, you have a comment in the review letter where you want the diversion berm built prior to any trees being cut down and grubbed. Impossible. How is that equipment supposed to even get there? It's an impossible scenario unless someone's going to bring a helicopter in and drop a piece of equipment down there. And we're disturbing more area to do the diversion berm. Totally unnecessary. The pipe size. We're arguing over a couple differences in acreage calculation. I did bring a couple pictures. These pictures were not taken by me. And Mr. Dean, if you want to pass a couple of them around. What I want to point out with those pictures is the pipe size. I'm putting a single driveway in that crosses literally a little ditch. You can see the pictures of the ditch. The pipe size that is under SEP Road, the public road that is below my property, that obviously since it's below my property is going to accumulate more volume than what my property does, is 18 inches. 18 inches around. The pipe that my engineer has proposed under the driveway of a private property owner is 30 inches. And you're asking me what I'm going to do if the pipe overflows and how we're going to stabilize the driveway? What's the township going to do for that 18-inch pipe that goes underneath the road? And on top of that, when we put in this 18-inch or 30-inch piece of pipe that is 23 feet long, in that little teeny ditch that you can step over, you want me to make a dam, a diversion dam, with sandbags and a Jersey barrier to pump water around while we put a piece of pipe in the ground, 20 feet long.
That's actually a state
I
requirement.
knew you were
for
going
general
to
permits.
say that. So if that's the case, why are you focusing on that plan over and over and over again?
Well, I'd like to respond to some of your comments.
I'll be glad to.
Before I do, I'd like to request that the video camera be shut off, and the reason being that I'm gonna be talking about my critique of some of your engineer's work, and he's not here to defend himself.
He's well aware that I'm here.
I know, but I don't think it's fair for me to criticize another engineer's work and have it broadcast on YouTube, so.
I'm perfectly fine if
I'm
you
not
wanna do
speaking to
that.
you, I'm saying I'd like that camera turned off so that I'm not criticizing another engineer who's not here to defend himself.
I think it should go off.
I'm fine.